All right, if that wasn't enough time, go ahead and pause the video now until you can finish plotting J, K, L, and M. First thing I'm going to do is plot my point J. I know that I'm running before I'm jumping, so I need to run backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and jump 1. My second one, point K, is at 0, 1, which means I'm not going to run at all. I'm just going to jump up 1. That's going to be my point K. My third point, point L, is at 0, 5. So 0 along the x-axis, up 5 on the y-axis. Over 0, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my point L. And point M at -6 on the x-axis, 5 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to make sure to label that point M. Now, number 2 here is asking what type of polygon JKLM is. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots. Connecting my points with line segments. And I can kind of see that taking shape. It looks like a square, but to make sure, I'm just going to go ahead and count the distance. From line segment ML, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, now that's why I'm glad I counted that, because I can see that this distance here is 6, this distance is 4, which means I know that it can't be a square, but it can be a rectangle. And I know it's a rectangle because I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles, and the opposite sides are equal in length and parallel. And that kind of says that right down here. How did you know what kind of polygon JKLM was? I knew it was a rectangle because there are 4 right angles and opposite sides are equal. Now the next little section is going to get a little bit more difficult. You can see that point S is 2 question marks, and this is going to ask you to figure out what those points are. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to plot points D, P, and C. Go ahead. So hopefully that 1 minute was enough time for you to plot D, P, and C. I'm going to go ahead and do that myself. I can see that point D is at 0, 0. That's the origin. Point D. I know that point P is at 0, 3. 0 on the x-axis, 3 on the y. I also see that point C is at 5, 3. 5 on the x-axis, 3 on the y. That's my point C. And now point S. Point S is a couple question marks, so I wasn't quite sure where to put that. What I am going to do is I'm going to connect the lines that I do have. Now, question number 4 is asking me what coordinates for point S would make DPCS a rectangle. Now I stand back and look at this and I see that I have a right angle here. So I know I need to make this a right angle and this a right angle. I also know that this length and this length need to match, and this length and this length need to match. So I'm going to focus on this length here, line segment PD, and I see that that is 1, 2, 3 units long. So that's how long I'm going to make my point from C. Down 1, 2, 3. And the reason I went straight down is because I know that if I go straight down, I've created a 90-degree angle here. So I'm going to plot my point here, which is point S, and finish connecting the dots. And now I have a rectangle. And point S would be located at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 5 and jump 0. So point S would be 5, 0 if I wanted to make DPCS a rectangle. Now, how did I know what coordinates would work? Well, I knew that I needed 4 90-degree angles, and I also needed opposite lengths to be equal. So I knew that opposite sides needed to be equal, and I needed 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles. And there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to rewind the video, rewatch what we went over. Now, when you're next door, remember that there are people still testing inside your classroom, and that I will be in here monitoring them. So make sure that you are working diligently on the rest of your packet. When you finish your packet, when you finish all of your packet, you can bring it back to me, and I'll give you your piece of homework.